What are we talking about today? We are going to talk about SMS communication being added to TaxDome. And joining me, before I even go there, before I even talk about the people that are joining us, if there's one thing that you're going to take away from this entire webinar, this entire discussion, that I want you to take away this one tidbit. That's all you need to know, is that SMS has the highest read rate of all communication channels that currently exist. Unless you knock on your neighbor's door, this is going to be the highest, and this actually might even be higher than knocking on their door, the highest read rate out of any communication channel. So this is why you should care. So we're gonna have a whole long webinar with a lot of discussion. Jamie is here to discuss with us as well, and we'll introduce her in a minute. But I want you to take away this one thing is simply the statistics in relative read rates of SMS relative to emails in this instance, but relative to really any communication channels. So we all have our phones, and so do our clients. And this is why we're having this discussion today. So quickly introduce our panel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Ilya Radzinsky. I'm a co-founder and chief product officer of TaxDome. And here I'm joined by Peter and Jamie. And Peter, if you mind just introducing yourself and pass it off to Jamie.
Of course, thank you. Hi, everyone. I see a lot of familiar names and also new names. So I'm Peter, I'm the Chief Revenue Officer. So I'm originally from Austria. So please excuse my German accent. And we have with us Jamie, which is the CEO at Foenix Tax and Business Services. So Jamie, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. I'm the CEO, founder of Foenix Tax and Business Services, a virtual tax accounting and consulting firm working with small businesses in tax preparation and individuals, and pretty much all accounting services and help people start businesses.
Awesome. Awesome. Welcome, guys. I'm glad that you are joining me on this webinar. So just to give a quick walkthrough of what we are going to talk about today is, first off, we're going to simply talk about all of the communication channels that you have within TaxDome, because we're introducing SMS, but for those of you that have been using TaxDome for a while, you're already familiar with this, obviously. But for those of you who are new, we're going to cover all the communication channels that are available to you within the platform. So again, everything here is your option. You get to run your firm exactly how you want it. Our goal is to provide you a platform to provide you all the possibilities to do that. We're going to talk specifically about SMS, when you would want to use it, why, go through best practices, and then we're going to go into the actual nuts and bolts of it, where we're going to talk about how to actually set this up, right? How are you going to integrate SMS and TaxDome? How are you going to do it? And then we're going to talk about future plans, right? As always, we love to talk about not just today, we're always innovating, we're always improving. So in addition to what we've already released, we're going to talk about where this is going on, because our goal is to always give you an insight into what we're thinking. Our goal is to communicate with you, to be proactive about that. And obviously, so many of Peter said, there's so many familiar faces because we're always talking to you in that. So whether it's myself, people on the product team, whether it's Peter and other members of our sales team and so forth, but our goal is to be in constant communication with our customers and really to add value there. Let's dive in. So first off, you have a complete communication ecosystem with SMS. That's really what's been added here. Is you've always had the ability to integrate your own personal email. Again, we are not creating a new email for you. You have your existing email that you're able to integrate into TaxDome. Doesn't matter what email you use, and it's going to pull in all of your prior communication history with your clients, and it will be a live sync between your personal email. In addition, you have the ability to have a secure chat. So secure chat is very similar to iMessage or WhatsApp, except because it's integrated within our platform, you have the ability to have a lot of automations tied to it. You're able to have your document storage linked to it automatically, send reminders. It's really a great tool. And what we're talking about today is now you have the ability to also use SMS within the platform. So be curious here. We're asking you how you're currently communicating with your clients, and then I'd love to do a follow-up poll later to find out how this changes based off of kind of the new additions that we're adding. So, Jamie, how are you currently communicating with your clients mostly? What do you lean towards?
Being mostly virtual, even with local clients, I use the TaxDome system. I try to train the clients to go through there. I have a different texting app, and I will keep it only during office hours that I respond, even if I get them outside of office hours. So I like using the TaxDome, the chat. If it's not TaxDome, it's just regular email.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
One thing, Ilya, I want to mention here, because I talked with some of you guys out there, and actually I heard something very good, which I also personally recommend, is that for what and how I reach my client with the best channel. Let's say you use chat for some tasks you want to have, and email if it's more like a bigger project, or SMS for reminders. And some firms of you mentioned something which, again, I really recommend, is that you have your own communication policy. So write it down for you, for yourself, for your team, what channel within TaxDome I'm going to use to communicate with my clients. So this is something we really recommend. We're going to dive deeper now. In the next slides, you will see what we recommend to use, but just for yourself, it's maybe good to have some kind of a communication policy for yourself.
Definitely. Definitely. And now we're going to talk a little bit about when you'd want to use the different options available to you, because as Peter mentioned, in order to roll out the policy, you have to think about what makes the most sense for you. We wanted to give you some best practices and examples of when and how you'd want to use each of these channels. Starting with SMS, we think it's fantastic for reminders and follow-ups, right? Let's say somebody's not responding to you for whatever reason, and it doesn't matter. Every tax pro, every accounting pro, you guys all deal with this. You're going to have clients that you have difficulty from responding. In that instance, when it's a time sensitive, when you need your client to get back to you really quickly, this is a great use case for it, because again, it's going to go directly to their text messages, commingled with the rest of their messages, right? So in addition to their message from their child or their mom or their neighbor, is going to be your business message. And that's really the real benefit of this, is because it's commingled, they get to see it much faster. You don't want to abuse it, right? We recommend using it mostly for reminders and follow-ups, as urgent notifications, so we need it as soon as possible, as opposed to consistent, as that being the primary mode of communication that you use for everything. And
Also,
one of the main, yeah,
Ilya,
please.
sorry, one thing. Can you go back?
Yeah.
With the SMS, it's also a timing thing. So you don't want to send SMS at 10 p.m. Maybe it's obvious for everyone, but you don't want to send SMS at 9 or 10 p.m. and remind him something, and then the person goes to sleep and the next day they forgot it again. So please be also cautious when you send out the SMS, maybe in the morning, maybe in the middle of the day, so you can expect a type of action from them.
Yep, definitely, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about secure chats. And again, we've had this for a while, and we will continue. And we're actually there's going to be some really awesome upgrades to this that I'm really excited to share in the first quarter. That's going to make it even easier for you to request information from your clients. So we're currently rejiggering that, and I'm beyond excited to bring that over. So I'm super excited to do that. But one of the main ways that you can use secure chats, and we recommend to do that, is for what a lot of your business is, sending and requesting sensitive financial information. And this is really important because you guys all know about these WISP plans and all these documentation information you get from the IRS and other security plans of you need to be buttoned up in your security, and secure chat lets you do that. So while SMS is great for reminders and for quick chats, it's not how you should be exchanging secure financial information. So secure chats are. So if you need a W-2 from your client, if you need them to send you a driver license, if you need them to provide you the EIN or for their business or anything, this is how you want to do it. Jamie, and you mentioned you're using this as well. How are you using this to request information, and how do you use this in your practice?
So when it comes to the actual tax process, I'm actually using the workflow automation. So I will have the electronic organizer, and they can give me the information and upload their documents through the organizer. But I also ask a lot of questions once I get to actually processing it. So I usually do chats, and I like to try to train them to have a separate topic or separate chat with each, organized subject line or whatever. That gets a little tricky to train the clients to do that. But the chat I use a lot. I use probably more than my regular email or even email through the system, because it works well. I really like that platform to keep everything in one place and keep it in the secure place.
Would you say, Jamie, that the people respond faster through the chat than the email?
think so. Honestly, I've gone away so much from email because sometimes if I get an email or even a text on my office line, I will respond to them in a chat saying responding to your text to get them to know that's where they need to put that information. So I definitely feel that they respond quickly when I use a chat through TaxDome.
Because what we have identified is when you request or send something through the chat, they open the portal and see the chat, and then they do it directly within TaxDome because they're already inside TaxDome. But if you send an email, they need to change the portal or log in again. And so that's why
Right.
also here we recommend to using the chat, because then you have the client there where you need them to be.
Exactly. And that when I think about that, it's like, how can I make this easier for the client to get me what I need and put them in the place that they need to be to make them respond faster. So I think that's why I already do that.
And I think actually this year, you're actually going to have a much higher, even faster and much higher uptake because just a couple months ago, we upgraded the mobile app. And since we've changed the mobile app, it's way better. It's much faster. It's a much better experience. And because of that, still a very small percentage of clients overall are using it because, again, tax season hasn't started yet. Firms haven't communicated that as well. But we sent out an email to all of you that includes a PDF that doesn't say TaxDome. It's written from your perspective. And if you haven't gotten it, right in Q&A here, please give me the PDF. And then if you missed it, but we included a PDF as well as a email that you can use to send to your clients. And that PDF, what it does is it conveys your firm's investment in their experience, in their security, and outlines all of the tools that you make available to them. So what it does is it's really a presentable tool that you can use to showcase how you're adding value to them, right? In addition to the actual tax work or bookkeeping work that you're doing, but you're focused on their overall experience. And we give you a tool a PDF that you can share with them, as well as an email that outlines that. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that, I was just going to say the reason I'm mentioning that is because it outlines a lot about why they should be using this mobile app and why it's convenient for them, including the links to download it. So the more your clients are using this, the faster they're going to be able to respond to you even better. And yes, Peter, I'm sorry.
No worries, because I see a lot of people already asking, send me the PDF. So we did this already previous. Please check your email if you have gotten it. If not, our team will make sure that you get it again.
Yep. And the one other thing I wanted to mention here about this, why secure chats are also great. If any documents, let's say you send them a set message saying, hey, I need your driver's license. I need your W-2. I need your 1099, whatever it is that you're requesting from them. That any documents that they attach here are automatically saved in their account. You don't have to manually then go and download it from your email or download it from some other system that you might be using to communicate and then manually save it. That takes you time. Right? If you're using any of these other SMS tools that we're mentioning, because even though I've mentioned don't send secure documents over SMS, it's going to happen. You could put up the drive 65, but people are still going to drive what they want. So that our goal is to put up the sign, you drive how you want. But with having said that, this is automatically going to be attached and saved in their client account. You're never going to lose that document. It's going to be there. And that convenience of having that automatic logging of everything makes a huge difference, because again, you might not be that busy now, but you guys know when it's middle of March, you get to April and you're processing hundreds and thousands of communications a day from your clients. You don't want to be spending time doing that log. Again, we strongly recommend to use the secure chat and to really make your clients aware of the mobile app that they have and to use it. Again, we have an app for both iOS and Android. It's on your login page and it's also in their portal. But again, make your clients aware. It'll be good for you. And finally, email. Email's existed forever. You know what it is. We just wanted to round this out in terms of what is a good use case for email. And as Jamie mentioned, you're using email a lot less. You want to be doing that. But sometimes for in-depth or long-form communication, newsletters and so forth, it is obviously a convenient tool for that. And Jamie, are you still, does what I'm writing here, does this ring true for you, or how are you still using email in the limited ways you are?
I guess it depends on the client and what type of client they are. If it's tax related, almost all of the communication goes through TaxDome, and primarily through the chat version of the chat feature of TaxDome. I do send emails with the automation workflow so that the status updates and different things like that, that's where I utilize the emails. If a client sends me a regular email, I'm usually seeing it through TaxDome. So if it's a different non-tax client, then I'll have more regular emails that I work with them. But it's because they may not all be in TaxDome yet.
So it's more reactive than proactive, right? If you're initiating the communications, you are trying to steer them towards how you want it. But when clients email you, then you either message there, or like you mentioned, replying to your texts, you can send a message replying to your email and so forth, retraining them in order to the communications that fit your firm.
Yeah, it is less on regular email, but I would rather that than a text message, especially with sharing actual expertise and documents. Documents are a no-no, but there are some clients you have to really train hard to get them to move away from that. But yeah, to answer your questions, it's less email overall.
Yep. Okay. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, so we've talked about the various options that are available to you. But again, we're talking about SMS. So let's focus a little bit more on SMS, when you'd want to use it, and the benefits of it. This goes without saying, but I think this is, the most important part. If you remember that first slide that I mentioned of what you should get, the one takeaway you guys should have of why we're even talking about this is SMS is the most natural way of communicating. It's the most analog, right? SMS was invented by, I forget who, but Nokia rolled it out many years ago. It was the 140, 160 characters, whatever it is. It hasn't changed that much. It's the flip phone of communication, but yet it still works. And the main reason is that you don't have to train anybody on it. And you don't have to download any apps. There's no learning curve. It just automatically goes into their communication box. And that's the simplest kind of way. And this is why so many businesses are introducing SMS, and why all these tools exist out there, and why we're adding it, is that because clients are so inundated with so many emails and so many other forms of communication, this is the fastest way to communicate with them.
Maybe also important to mention is that some people or some of your clients maybe have deactivated the pop-up notifications, but believe me, the SMS is always on. They always see the pop-ups from the SMS. So, again, you can reach the people with SMS and through TaxDome, but maybe they don't see the message when it comes from TaxDome, but the SMS they will see for sure.
Yeah. Again, the other thing that is great, is free, and is unlimited, and is right on their phones, is the TaxDome Client mobile app. And again, we strongly recommend you to use that specifically because of what we talked about with the security aspect of the automatic document saving and so forth. And it really does provide an awesome experience for the client. Try it yourself. Please play with it, download it, see what it's like. It's a great experience, and it's branded to you once they're logged on, but they can communicate with you and really do anything that they need within your portal. Anything that they need to complete within the context of your firm from this one application. So SMS is great. It goes to the text message, they get it there, but they still have to go somewhere else to complete the task, right? To sign your document, to pay your invoice. That's going to be directly through the mobile app, which we strongly recommend for you to do. But again, we all have those clients. They're going to be delayed in providing you stuff, no matter how until you serve it up on a silver platter. By sending an SMS reminder on top of that, you can speed up the turnaround of some of those things that you might want them to do. And that's really what the crux of this is, speeding up the turnaround. So let's talk about the actual, how are we going to set up the integration, right? So first off, your firm in the context of an integration is called a brand. And we're going to get into this a little more David's message is exactly, I don't know if you guys can see this in the Q&A. I get so many spam texts, I ignore most of them. That is precisely why you have to do what we're talking about here. This is called registering your brand. And we've made a simple process directly within the TaxDome application, within the TaxDome web application, for you to register your brand as effectively your firm with Twilio. And Twilio is the backend company that we're integrating with in order to provide the SMS functionality. But Twilio has to send that information to what's called a campaign registry. And we'll talk about that on the next slide a little bit more. But at the end of the day, all you have to know is that this is a logistical process, purely from the standpoint of providing information about your firm and who you are. And this registration process can take up to 30 days. Now, once that's done, you're going to receive a phone number through which you can communicate through SMS, and we'll get into that. Now, the reason why this takes so long, and the reason why this has become so procedural is because of exactly what David mentioned, is the spam texts. This entire process is done and intended to reduce the amount of spam that we get, those fake UPS delivery messages I'm sure you guys get. This is Amazon delivery driver when it's not, and they're trying to send you somewhere. The whole goal from the carriers, AT&T, Verizon, is to try to reduce that. And that's why they've created this process. And this process is called ATP 10DLC. Okay, and there's a video going on in the background. This is directly from Twilio. If you're really interested, you can watch the video. And this is just purely all business messaging has to go into this process. But effectively, the end goal is that end clients and people like you and me are going to have a better experience with less spam on their phones. So they're basically registering. It's not just a random person on the internet sending you a message. They can track back every single one of those messages to who is the company that sent that message through the carrier. And that's effectively what this is through the campaign registry. Peter, you were saying, I'm sorry.
No, just in general, just to make the point, you need to go through this just to make sure that we all are a legitimate company and your clients receive it as something that's not spam and so on. It's just important to do it, and that's why it just takes more time to verify the accuracy of yourself and if you're a legitimate company.
Yep. So this process, once you guys complete, you guys can see the form. So if you go to the SMS page inside of your integrations area in TaxDome, it's what this looks like. You have to click, I forget the button, I think it's called Connect. And effectively, it takes you to a form where you provide your company information. Jamie, for example, if you were doing this, I believe you said your company is called Foenix, you would provide the information all about Foenix, right? And the important part that I really want to highlight here is making sure that the information you provide matches those records. For example, make sure you put the business address that matches your business. Don't put for example, your home address maybe instead of that. Or make sure that the name of the directors or whoever matches what's on the business. So this is the important part here, is the logistical piece, so that they can verify that this is Jamie from Foenix who's applying, and that they know that when Jamie's clients receive those messages through their carrier, they're going to be able to track back exactly to who it was, so that if Jamie is a bad actor and starts sending spam messages, which we know she's not going to do, but let's say somebody were to do that, they will know, and they will be able to track back to that. Does that make sense, Jamie, how I explained it?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you've been talking about this, and I don't know if regulation is the right word to use here, but I remember that there was stuff that came out that they were going to start limiting who gets to send stuff, especially if there's mass or multiple messages sent at the same time. I think it is important. And yeah, it's a pain in the tail to do some of this stuff as a user, but we got to play the game and participate in helping everybody have less spam, I think. And this is just part of it.
Yep. And if you notice, they're talking about campaigns on this video, and we've just added the background for those of you just watching. But one part of this we're registering your brand and your campaign. So the brand is your company, and the campaign is effectively how you're going to use it. So it's effectively the use case. And I want to talk a little bit about that, because again, this is part of that regulation, is that as part of doing it, you have to be able to reduce that spam. So one of the things that you're providing, and we're doing this automatically for you, is how you're going to use SMS, right? Are you going to send them random marketing messages of 30% deal and so forth? You can't do that. And this is important because, again, part of this, each specific registration is how you're going to use it. And the way you should use SMS and TaxDome is to communicate with your clients, to send those reminders and follow-ups, and effectively what they call customer care. So we've just added some sample messages of what you can use. And we strongly recommend, as we get into actually using it, you can template all of these, right? So these are just some specific ways you can use it, but wanted to get across that this is because of the goal from the carriers to reduce spam, because of the regulation, it's very specific of how you can use SMS to communicate with your clients. So these are all kind of examples of how you can do it. And again, if you really think about it, this is what you're going to be using it for, right? If you are a tax or bookkeeping or accounting firm, these are the kind of things that you're going to be doing and sending. You are not going to be sending your packages delivered message with a fake Amazon link, but we just wanted to be very clear and transparent about how you can use it, so that you're aware of these use cases.
A reminder what I mentioned in the beginning about the communication structure that you build it out. What do I do in chats? What do I do in SMS? And what do I communicate in emails? Another thing, what I would use SMS, if I would have a firm, I would use it as a client experience. Hey, it was great working with you, or we did a great job this time. And so really also give some positive vibes through SMS. So the client experience SMS not every time with you for work, but also, hey, that's a nice SMS now I received.
On top of that, that's actually great. There are entire services around this. It's called review gathering. So you guys can look up, there's entire services that all they do, their entire thing that you're going to pay $100 a month or $200 a month for, is sending a follow-up SMS message to your clients saying, how did we do? Rate me on Google.
Yeah.
Right. You're all familiar with this. You can do that without paying a different service. You can simply send that message at the end, and we'll talk a little bit more about kind of additional things that are coming where you'll be able to automate these things. But for example, at the end of your workflow, you'll be able to have a message that says automated message saying, hey, how did we do? Leave a message on our Google or somewhere else and so forth. So
like a call to action exactly a call to action to rate your firm in every platform you are in.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So we talked about the customer care. And now let's talk about how it works in actual TaxDome. Main thing I want to get across, first off, it is a two-way communication. So it's not one way. Your clients can reply to you. You can send them a message. They can reply to you. It's full back and forth communication. Now, there's been some questions of, oh, I just want to send one-way messages and so forth. That's a terrible user experience for the client, right? Because at the end of the day, they're going to try. You can't stop them from replying on their phone. You can't stop them from doing that, right? At the end of the day, they're still going to do that, and it's just going to go nowhere. So if your goal is to provide a great customer experience, so forth, control the communication patterns, right? So use this as a reminder. You can have a message in your template that says, please reply in our chat if you don't want to continue the conversation in there. Please make sure in our portal, use this as a, hey, we're waiting on you to provide so-and-so information. You control how you want to communicate with your clients because you can't control what they're going to do on their phones. And that's a really important part, is that the only thing you can turn off is whether it comes in, but at the end of the day, your client is going to think that they messaged you. So you don't want to do that.
Think back when someone called you or someone sent you an email and you responded and how did you feel? It was frustrating for you. So you just don't want your clients to feel the same way.
Exactly. And again, you can communicate if you want to have this whole back and forth and move your communication there. You're welcome to do that, right? That's the goal. And if you remember the beginning of the first slide was, this is a platform that gives you all the tools you need. So you have secure chat, you have integrated email, you have SMS. How and when you communicate is up to your firm. We wanted to give you best practices. We want to give you kind of our thoughts on how you should be doing it. And we're happy to answer any questions you guys have. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to implement it based off of your firm's goals. And at the end of the day, it'll probably be a blend of all of them, right? At the end of the day, you might send a kickoff email there. You're not going to send a kickoff text message, right? That's just a strange thing to do because also text messages are short. So you might want to send a kickoff email. You might want to have any requests for information go through secure chat. You might want to have important status updates. Maybe if the client isn't responding and is getting closer to a deadline, that you might want to send through SMS saying, hey, reminder, March 15th is coming up. We need your information by March 1st, or we're going to miss the deadline. This is a final reminder. Please check your portal. We have missing information from you. And that's it. Or you can say, please reply in the portal, or however you want to do it there. But it's going to be a blend of the three. We want to give you the tools in order to do that. See, there's some questions, by the way, about this not appearing and so forth. This is currently in early access. I believe it's going to be released into production fully, meaning for all users, I believe this week. If you don't see it there, it's going to be you're going to be in your application later this week. Okay. And the other part I wanted to highlight, at the moment, it's only available for the US and Canada, because again, those are the ones that have these strict regulations that we mentioned with the carriers in the US. We will be adding this on a global basis as well. Right now, it's just for US and Canada. There's some other questions of, will my client, who will see the SMS and so forth? What you're seeing in the interface, this is your interface in TaxDome of a client profile, and you get to see the entire history of the communication with the client. So on your client's phone, they're only going to see the communication that you had with them. They're not going to see, obviously, everything else there. Bulk SMS. So the other part you can mention is, and there's questions around this, you can send text messages individually or in bulk. And this is important because, again, for those reminders and coupled with workflow automation, this is a great way of, you might want to say on April 28th, or excuse me, on February 28th, right before you get to really the busy season of getting into the business deadlines, the April deadlines, you might want to filter your clients in your client list, those that are in the early stages of your workflow. And sneak peek, we have a workflow webinar on Thursday where we're going to walk you through a sample workflow from beginning to end, including organizers, engagement letters, and tying it all together. So that's going to be on Thursday. We'll talk about that. But one of the things that we'll talk about is the ability for you to visualize which of your clients is in which stage of the process. And a great use case for SMS is finding the clients that are lagging. They're going to be there. We all know those clients are going to be there. And I see Jamie nodding along because she knows this is going to happen no matter what. As you get closer to the deadlines, bulk selecting those clients and sending them a bulk SMS saying, hey, deadline's coming. You need to get this information in ASAP. This is a great use case for that. Jamie, what do you think in terms of using this as one of the use cases? Does this kind of resonate with you? Is this something you think you might use as a final reminder?
I think it could be helpful. Yeah, there's ways to do it in the workflow, and you can see who's in what stage and send out messages that way. But I think this is just another great option that you can, I'm guessing you could filter it by the tags and be able to send it all at once and be more efficient in how I spend my time getting that information out there and prompting people to get moving.
Exactly. That's 100% it. Excuse me. Okay, so let's click on the next one. So there's been a lot of questions about the fees and the billing. First off, yes, this is a paid feature. Very, very clear. Reason why is we are not AT&T. We are not a carrier. So by definition, we have to pay a carrier to send the messages. So unlike secure chat, which is fully unlimited, you can use this has a fee and it has a usage fee. So this is the breakdown of the fees that are there. First off is there's a one-time initial fee for registration. And this is the breakdown. It's $30.15. And that includes the first month. If you notice, there's 2 line items that are phone number rent and payment for campaign. Those are recurring charges. The first $30 includes the first month. And then subsequently, you're going to be charged $11.15 for renting of the phone number. If you stop paying for it, the risk there is that your phone number is lost. So that's an important caveat, which is why we recommend for you to keep it. So this is why that's a recurring cost. And these go 100% to Twilio, to the campaign registry in order to keep your phone number alive. And this is going to be the case through any carrier that you use. Excuse me, any platform that you use. These are simply as part of the regulations. These are the registrations. So if you notice that there's the ATP brand registration, that's a new fee. So for those of you that have been using SMS texting through some platform, maybe for many years, everything is shifting towards this. This was passed recently. You can read about it. And it's called A2P 10 DLC. These are the fees associated with it. So those are the fees for the initial setup and the recurring. And then the usage fee for every SMS, which is paid to TaxDome, is 4 cents a message. So those are the 2 different fees. Now, if you look at kind of options that are out there, everyone is always going to bundle it in. And what most companies do is they'll send you, instead of charging you $11.15 for each month, they're going to charge you $25 a month or $20 a month or $30 a month. And if you look at the fine print, it's just going to include a certain number of SMS messages that are included within there. Because unless you are AT&T, you are always going to pay a carrier fee in order to send those messages. So instead of doing that, we make it purely on a usage basis. So if you don't send any SMS, you're not going to pay anything. And if you send SMS, you're only going to pay for exactly what you use. So we wanted to be very transparent in terms of the costs there. So again, initial fee, which covers the registration and the first month. And after that, $11.15 for the recurring monthly, and then usage basis for SMS sent.
An important keyword, transparency. We're literally showing you guys here one-on-one the fees which we're passing over. So we're not making any money out of this. So we are staying transparent as we are, as what we stand for. So those numbers you see here, you can find them on Twilio, and that's what you're going to pay for.
Yes, exactly. So the question is, we've had a lot of questions, which are, do you make money on the 4 cents? Yes, we do make money on you sending SMS messages. Very simply, we make money on this. That's a, you should be making money on your business, and this is a usage basis. So we make money purely on the usage. And if you look at other businesses that are out there, they're all doing the exact same thing. If you look at Texcellent, if you look at RingCentral, if you look at other ones, generally the SMS fees are all going to be in line on the same thing. If you simply search for Google Twilio, yes, the Twilio fee is going to be less, but that is for application vendors who have to support the application, who have to have developers that build the application, that are giving you the interfaces that you're seeing here, and it's all included. So do we make money on a usage basis? 100% we do. And that's on the usage fee that you're seeing there, which is different. Now, we don't make any money on any of the monthly fees. We don't make any money on the registration fees. And that's why you're going to seeing those being clearly laid out there. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about future plans. So what we talked about, first off, as you include this, you're going to see the ability to send individual and bulk messages. You're going to be able to send and receive them. That's included right away, right in the first release. Now, what's going to be added to this is SMS automation. So the same way that, Jamie, you were mentioning that you use the workflow automation and you have chats go out, you have emails, you're going to be able to have SMSs go out as automations. For example, if you have a client that's delaying, if you have a stage, for example, that's delaying, not providing you information, instead of just sending them another email, another reminder, you can have that urgency SMS go out to them automatically. Right now, you can do that manually, but that's where it's going. We're also going to be able to do that with reminders. Again, reminders for those of you that are using them, for organizers, for signatures, for invoices, those are automatic. We're going to add the ability for you to route those to SMSs. So in addition to just routing there, so the reminders get sent there. And then the other thing we're doing is adding a global communications interface, which is going to allow you to have all of your, and there's been a lot of requests for this, and I completely support it. So you guys are 100% right. You need a global interface for all your communications, specifically for chats, which is missing right now. They're within the client interface, but if you want to see, I want to see all my messages in one place, you don't have that. We're working on adding in a global communication center where you're going to be able to see all chats for all clients, as well as all SMSs for all clients in one place. So those are some of the updates that I wanted to discuss. Jamie, are any of these kind of most interesting to you from that perspective?
The global communication space, to not have to go to each client when I want to check something, I think that's great. I think, and this hasn't been prompted by you guys at all, but I love how transparent and how forward thinking you guys always are. It's like there are sometimes you guys come up with the ideas that I haven't even thought of yet, which are great and just make the experience better for me as a user, much less the client user. So yeah, that's a great feature I hadn't even thought about. And, you have the inbox feature, but I never even thought about the chats aren't all in one spot. So that would be, I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I think our team has been answering a lot of questions, but we're gonna do some more kind of Q&A as well. So I saw there were some questions around the phone number. So first off, if you do not stop paying for the Twilio phone number, Twilio will give your phone number away. So for those of you that have used Google Voice or similar, they effectively park a phone number for you. If you stop using it after a certain amount of time, they take it away. So that's why you have to pay that recurring fee of the $11.15, which goes to $30 a year, something like that, to have a phone number open. Again, if you use RingCentral, if you use Texcellent or whatever, you're going to have the same kind of, it's going to be $40 a month or whatever it is in order to do that. And you're going to lump in those things. So that's from the phone number perspective. Additionally, there were some questions about why am I being given a new phone number instead of I want to use my existing phone number. This is an interesting question. It goes into two camps. You have the people that say, I don't want to give out my office phone number. Absolutely do not want to be texting with my clients, because by then I'm effectively teaching them to text me through there as opposed to using the communication channels. And you have the people on the other hand that say, actually, I don't want them to have a different phone number and so forth. Initially, it's a new phone number that's given to you by Twilio. We are working with Twilio because there's a process of porting in your existing number. Again, the important thing you have to think about is that, again, those of you that are Googling Twilio and saying, I can bring this in and so forth, you have to understand that there's many ways of integrating with Twilio. Twilio is a massive platform. And the way that we're integrating is we are the technology platform that's providing SMS for you as part of a bigger package, so to speak, as opposed to you being a developer building it manually or you contacting it through yourself. So if that's an important aspect of it. So there is a form in order to be able to route your phone number over. we're working with Twilio to develop a process around that. So for those of you that do want to change your phone number to the one you currently have, we're currently working on that process in order to make that happen for you. Then there were some questions on, is there a fee for both messages sent and received? Yes, the usage fee is on all text messages back and forth.
Questions about how we differentiate between TaxDome and other providers. The answer is, please mind that you have it integrated within TaxDome, and it aligns with our vision that you have one single platform to communicate and collaborate with your clients. And then you don't have to log in another tool because you do everything within TaxDome.
On top of that, you're going to see the entire, so if I go to here, where was this? So if you look over at, where was this? Okay, here, for example, this is a big difference that differentiator is that you're going to have all communication through all platforms in one timeline, right? You're not hopping into Ring Central or to Texcellent to see some random interface that somebody received and to double check every single time what message they sent. And then they're going to send you a document over through there, and it's not going to, and then you lost the document, you're going to save it. You're going to save so much, you're going to lose so much time on this that if you really think about the actual true minimal costs that are surrounded with this, you might want to implement it through there. Again, having everything integrated makes a tremendous difference, both for your experience and your customer experience. By having that entire timeline of communication, it's going to make your responses better. It's going to save you time in building in that context, right? You're not going to check you're not going to check your email and Gmail, open up Texcellent, and then open up some other system that you may be using for communication that's not TaxDome in order to couple that together, piece it in your head, and then come up with an answer to it. It's going to happen automatically. And on top of the things that I mentioned in terms of building it into your process and your workflow, it's really going to take it to the next level in terms of getting faster client communication through there.
Just imagine you need to have your CRM, also all your client data also in another tool then. So you have it already, everything in TaxDome. So just imagine the double work you would have.
There were some other questions of, do I need my client's phone number in order to text? Yes, you do. You need the phone number to be able to send a text message. If you don't, you can put those in. You can use, if you haven't put them into TaxDome, you can use your bulk import feature. So you can import and update all of the contact information, all of the account information easily. Keep that in mind that if you don't have certain information, you can always bulk import it in there to have it there. Let's see if there's any other questions that are here. Jamie, do you have any questions? I think for those of you who don't, Jamie, this is the first time she's seeing the presentation. We wanted to know, Jamie, what questions do you have?
The last question that you mentioned from the participants about asking if you need the phone number. At first I thought, well, that seems like an obvious answer, but there are options that some platforms use to email a text or send a text message to an email or maybe from an email. So I wondered if that was maybe where that question was coming from, but because I don't know that I have phone numbers for all my clients in TaxDome either. I definitely have their email. So
yeah. No, in order to reach their phone through SMS, you need to know exactly where to send it. So
yeah,
you need to know the phone number in which to direct it. And the way we do it is, if you notice here, if you try to send a bulk SMS on this screen, so what you're seeing here is you clicked on your clients, you went to your client list and you selected 100 of them and you clicked send SMS. It's going to show up on the phone number column. It's going to show you the ones that you're missing a phone number for. So it's automatically going to prompt you for that and make it easy for you to update that information and put it in. So we've thought 2 steps ahead because we know that many people don't have their phone numbers in there. So this will highlight the ones that you don't, so you can easily put them in. See that little pencil button? Then you can easily pencil that in, write in their phone number, and then it'll automatically save that to their account to be able to move that forward.
Yeah, I capture it in the electronic organizer, but so it's just a matter of getting it in that same spot for the right others.
A nice little sneak peek. I'll actually tell you, we're currently working on a feature which is going to allow you to use the organizer answers to update all your CRM fields. So you'll be able to do that. So we're currently working on that as well. So nice little sneak peek there that you'll be able to have.
That just prompted questions too, but I'm like, that's a different webinar. So that's awesome. That's beautiful. That's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some questions on maximum amount of SMS you can send. Great question. The maximum is 6,000 that you can send there. So the reason for that is, again, if we go back to the fees and billing, This is all regimented. This is not TaxDome making this up. This is how it works. So you see that ATP $4 brand registration, that is specifically for what's called a low, I forget the term, but effectively it goes into tiers. And if you want to send more than 6,000 a day, then you become a bulk messenger. So for example, let's say you're Instacart or you're one of these delivery apps, right? They're obviously sending Domino's Pizza. They're sending way more SMS than that because they've got hundreds of thousands of deliveries that they're doing every single day. They obviously go beyond those limits. There's additional vetting for those platforms. So what we've done here is, because we know our audience, for the most part, it's not those businesses. You're not sending 100,000 marketing messages a day you're not doing that. For the use case here, it's going to be maximum of 6,000 per day. If you need more than that, reach out to us and we might be able to upgrade you to a different plan, but that will it's not a lot. It's, I think, dollars maybe, but there's additional kind of digging that they do into your business to vet you. And it's for those of you that like Googling and looking on Twilio, it's what's called a trust score. So effectively your business, and depending on how many employees you have and how big you are, they give you a trust score that says how much do we trust this company to send 100,000 or some other high volume number of SMSs per day. Our limit is 6,000. If you need more, reach out to us. Okay.
If you have any questions directly to Jamie, please also post it in, because I saw some already.
There's some questions of what happens if they try to call the phone number. That's a great question. So right now that goes nowhere, which is actually something that we're working on. So what we're working on is having the ability to set up forwarding for that. But again, everything has cost, and Twilio carries additional costs for that. So that's why we can't just turn it on for you, because there's going to be additional, every time they forward the phone call, that might have an additional cost. So that's why we're working on that, to try to figure out a way to make that as seamless for you and as possible, so that you're not dealing with this and that there's no unexpected costs for you there. So again, we recommend this strongly remember the use case that we mentioned, we strongly recommend for you to use this as a proactive follow-up, saying, hey, we need your information for this. We need so-and-so information. And then you might have a quick back and forth with the client, but you want to use the majority of your I need X document from you through the mobile application, because again, that's secure, limited, and you don't have any additional fees from there.
Be as clear as possible. Be as clear as possible with a straight call to action. Avoid the space that they come back with a question or with anything else. The CTA, the call to action of your SMS, should be very clear.
Yep. There's some questions on multiple phone numbers. So if a client has multiple phone numbers, which one do they use? So we've added this. Some of you have noticed that you've had a change in the contact, what the contacts look like. If you look in a contact, the phone number has been separated from a regular field to a separate field. This is partially why this kind of took so long and so forth, is we had to redo the infrastructure to know what number to look at. So because people can have many phone numbers, as Regina is correctly asking, you're able to indicate which one is the main number, and the main number is the one that's going to receive the SMSs that's on there. And if you do a bulk select, you're able to choose which one that it goes to. So you can have as many in the real world, which we operate in, contacts have many emails, they have many phone numbers, they have many fields. You have the ability to add as many custom fields, as many phone numbers, as many emails as you want. And then when you're sending an SMS, it'll indicate which one that it'll go to. So that's all been thought out there.
I see some of you mentioning this isn't not for my practice. Absolutely okay. Please remember that this is an add-on of a feature. It's just an add-on of communicating with your clients. If all your clients are responding easily through the client mobile app or through the chat, why should you use also SMS? Maybe you find a use case, maybe not. But if you're happy already with your response rate and the turnaround of tasks using the chat and the client, and your clients use the mobile app because that's the fastest way to communicate with them, it's absolutely fine. It's not a must to use this feature.
Yep. Then there's some questions about the phone number. You do get a real phone number. It's not going to be like 121 notification. And again, because those are different campaigns. So the thing that says your one-time password is 111222 that I'm sure you guys are familiar with through the SMS 2FA, that is a different use case for the use case that we're here, which is customer care and follow-ups, you're going to receive a real number that's going through there. And you can send message to all US and Canadians numbers. If you try to send a message to an international number, at the moment, that will not go through. We're working on adding that in as well, especially as having, in addition to having international companies also have SMS capability. Those are all kind of different steps. Right now, US and Canadian companies can message US and Canadian numbers. That is the restriction there. But again, that will be expanded in the future. If your client is physically overseas, but has access to a US phone number or Canadian phone number, they will receive it. So your client can be anywhere, which for those of you that have overseas clients, many of them maintain their US numbers, they will receive it as well. Okay.
There was a question about, will be the link that automatically opens up the app? If you add a link to the client portal, then of course they can directly open it, or to the client mobile app.
Yeah. Will we know when an SMS does not go through? Yes, you will. So you're going to get a message if it's an invalid phone number. When you send a bulk operation, it'll tell you which ones went through and which ones didn't, and you'll be able to download the spreadsheet of which ones didn't go through as well. Yeah. Okay. Great questions. Are we able to send images? Is there a character limit? So as of right now, again, images are separate. Images are not SMS. Images are what's called MMS. So again, if you look at RingCentral, if you look at these Texcellent and so forth, they're going to charge you the exact same 4 cents for a message. MMS, which are multimedia something, so I don't remember what it's called, is a higher fee. So we didn't add this in at first because we didn't want to complicate the fee structure. And secondly, because we believe, as I mentioned earlier, that you should not be using this to exchange documents because of the security aspect of it. So we didn't add that in on purpose. If messages are something that you need, and again, as mentioned, you're willing to pay for the higher fee from it, again, please feel free, go to Texcellent pricing page. You're going to see that it's going to be about 4 cents for the regular message and 6 cents for the MMS. If that's something you're interested in, let us know and we might add that in. But right now you're not able to send images for that reason because SMS does not support images. Is there a character limit? Yes. So I think don't quote me, it's either 140 or 160. Whoever's Googling, you can Google the amount of maximum text limits in a character that you can send. But if you send a really long message, it will automatically break it up into multiple messages. So you'll see there. So if you're sending a bulk message, it's going to tell you how many messages are going to be sent. Okay. I think that's good. A lot of these other questions. There's some questions about the brand registration and so forth. Please reach out to our support with those questions. They'll be able to help address those specifically. And if there's any documentation that we need to update, there were some comments in the early access community about the phone number format. Thank you for those of you that pointed us out. Twilio has a very specific way that you need to input your phone number. We've updated it now to automatically, even if you don't give us the phone number in that format, we're going to change it for you to be to that one. But if you experience any issues during the actual registration, please reach out to our support. They'll be able to assist you, and hopefully if there's any inconsistencies, we're going to update our help to relay that. Awesome. A great question. Will these messages come into TaxDome exclusively? Yes, they're going to be seen in TaxDome inside that client profile. They're not going to show up on your phone. They're going to show up on your client's phone. They're not going to show up it's not going to be an SMS into your phone. It's going to show up into your client in the TaxDome application. So if you notice here, it's going to be here within each client there. It's going to show up in your inbox plus. And as mentioned, we're working on a global communication center where you're going to be able to see all those messages for all your clients coming in one place at the same time. And yes, Desmond, of course, you're going to get a notification through those things. Peter, Jamie, do you guys have anything else we want to add?
Maybe mention that we have another webinar on Thursday.
Yes, great. So we have another webinar on Thursday. I know this is coming in. We got a lot coming in, but we're doing a lot. And the webinar on Thursday is going to be all about workflow automation. And we're going to walk through the nuts and bolts of an entire pipeline. So what is a pipeline? A pipeline is a set of workflow. It's a business process, right? So what we're going to walk through is a standard business process. We know tax season is coming up. We're going to do a walkthrough of a pipeline template, and we're going to show you exactly how you can download it. We're going to walk you through the nuances of it and the really awesome things that Jamie was alluding to in terms of why she uses workflow automation. But we're going to really dive in and explain them and walk you through it so that you understand exactly how it works. You're able to download that template to your workspace. And then we want you to have a full understanding of it, because we understand there's, there's so many people like, oh, I don't understand how this works and so forth. I promise you, at the end of this webinar, you're going to get it, and this bulb is going to go off in your head, and you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm actually not dreading actually communicating with my clients this year. So I'm excited for that.
2 points regarding the webinars. We see the success in it, so we see that you guys like it. We get also very positive feedback. So we definitely want to do this more often. We see also how the utilization of the features skyrocket after webinar. So please get used to it, get used to us. We definitely want to continue doing this. And regarding next week, we're going to have as guest panelists two guests in different firm sizes. So I really recommend to attend there, because you will see hands-on how a smaller firm and a mid-sized firm use TaxDome and their comments inside those workflows and how they utilize it. Very interesting one.
Great. And Jamie, is there just a teaser there? Is there something that, first off, did that light bulb ever go on in your head? And if the answer is no, that's okay. But if it did, I'd be love to know when that did and what did it, what was that? What triggered that light bulb for you that you started using the workflow automation?
Honestly, it was when I was introduced to workflows for tax pros, Jamie and Jessica. I was connected with Jessica prior to that, and I was already on TaxDome because I was looking for a secure portal that was better than what I was using prior. And I just started realizing how much I already knew there was a lot more when I chose TaxDome. And then when they introduced that there was help out there of how to do the workflows, in addition to what you guys already offer, that just made it easy to get that set up. I shouldn't say easy, it is work. No matter what it is, there is work and you have to think about it and processes. But with the advancements that you guys have just released with the workflows and the templates, that's huge. So yeah, I think just having somebody else say that they had become a super user of that platform or that feature made me jump on board back then. Because this is my 3rd or 4th year using TaxDome.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that, right? And then because we're all different learners, and I think whether or not you are a visual learner, whether or not you prefer video, whether or not a lot of accountants, a lot of us, we like articles. We want to go step by step because we like documentation. Other people want somebody to walk them through it. There's all kind of different ways of learning. And that's partially why we wanted to add these webinars, is specifically to address kind of the different needs there. And actually part of the sneak peek is where we've already released in the early access, and we're going to be talking about it more, is the marketplace. So in the marketplace is a new way to download and share templates. So all of the templates that we're talking about will be easily for you to download, as well as the templates that you're mentioning. I believe those are on the marketplace as well from Jamie and Jessica. So I'm really happy to hear that that light bulb went off for you. I'm excited for that to go off for other people. And again, we're excited to see you guys on the webinar on Thursday. Please come early, because we're going to have more trivia. So whoever wins some money, our team will be reaching out to you there. You get a chance to win some more money on Thursday. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.